Hello friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Pursuit of Cabin Living series by 4Expedition. I'm Scott Luthold. First and foremost, I wanted to make an apology to all my subscribers and fans and thank all of you for reaching out to me to find out what's going on, why I haven't put out a video in the last 3 weeks. And I wanted to apologize for that. I'm very diligent about getting my videos out on time and making a regular appearance, at least maybe once a week and at the most every 2 weeks. And it's been 3 weeks, and the reason for that is because something came up in this that you'll see later on in this video that lit a fire under my butt, and I decided it was time to really roll up our sleeves and get things done on the exterior of the cabin, mostly because I was really concerned about the oncoming winter weather. And so that's what we did. We rolled up our sleeves, we got out there, and we just worked our butts off. So much so that I could hardly even sleep at night because I was so sore. In fact, my hands, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and my knuckles would be locked. I'd have to bend open my knuckles and all of that just in order to get everything moving again in the morning. And I probably wouldn't have been able to edit a video anyway with my hands like that. I've never had that experience before. I've worked very, very hard in my life at times, but I would have to say that this labor of love has been some of the most tremendous labor that I've ever endured in my life. And yet I've learned so much, and Heather and I have learned so much, and we've worked so well as a team, and we've just cranked out so much stuff to the point where the exterior of the cabin and everything that we needed to do outside of the cabin is done. And as of this morning, we started working on a lot of our interior stuff, and as you can see, I'm sitting inside of an insulated cabin that you'll see later on in this video, the process at which that we went through to get all this done. I'm just so pleased and so proud of the work that we've accomplished here. I've never done something like this, and it just occurred to me 2 days ago that we didn't just put an addition on a cabin. We didn't just do a renovation on an existing 44-year-old cabin. Everything that we did here on a micro scale was build an entire house, and that's just incredible to me. And as I've mentioned before, I've built many, many homes. I've had homes built by home building companies many, many times before. And this is the first time that I've built the entire structure that's going to keep us warm all winter. And so that was a very important thing for me, to create a home that Heather and I can live in this winter when the weather falls below zero and it's windy and cold and we got 3-4 feet of snow outside around us. I want to be able to open my eyes in the middle of the night and just be confident that what we've built is going to keep us safe and warm, and know that every single nail, every single screw, every single sheet of roofing, every single piece of wood, every single pipe and tube and wire and everything was put there by me, observed by me if somebody else was doing some of the work, and know exactly where everything is, how it works, and how it was put together. It's just incredible. And if you haven't ever had an experience like this, boy, I certainly encourage you to go ahead and do it. It's just been mind-blowing, eye-opening, and I just never in a million years expected there to be this much work in order to be able to create a home, a place that's sustainable. And so the other reason I didn't do filming, I did a lot of filming, but one of the other reasons I didn't put out a video is, when you're a YouTuber like I am and you have a wide audience all over the world, there's only certain parts of your life that you want to share with the public. Other parts of your life you want to keep private. And there's a number of things that we did here on the property that I just really didn't feel like was necessary to share with the public. Certain things I just wanted to keep private. And so as you'll watch this video, there's certain processes and certain experiences that we share and certain experiences that we just forewent and just decided to create and get done on our own and not share with the public on video. Anyway, this has just been a wonderful process so far. I'm so thrilled to be working on the interior of the cabin now and creating, turning a house into a home. That's probably one of the most rewarding aspects of this entire process. It's one thing to build a structure. It's one thing to get it enclosed and dried in and all of that. And it's another thing to turn a house that you created with your own bare hands into a home, a place that you create memories, a place that has nostalgia, a place that has authenticity of the seasons and the holidays and all of that. And that's what we intend to do here. All of the holidays going forward will be very authentic experiences, and many of that Many of those experiences I intend to share with all of you. I really hope you enjoy this episode, so sit back and enjoy the ride. Well, my friends, I got to tell you, I'm pretty pissed. We've been waiting for about 2 months for our windows, and they're beautiful. They came in, I think, yesterday, and they got delivered. Beautiful, beautiful windows. But we ordered 2 windows that were 72 inches tall and 1 window that was 61 inches tall. We received 2 windows that were 61 inches tall and 1 window that's 72 inches tall. Now, we cannot swap the windows. Everything's already, we've already got the rough openings. There's a header on the end that we can't adjust because it's also supporting our beam on the end of the house. So we're pretty jacked. I don't know what we're gonna do. It's supposed to snow tomorrow. We expected tomorrow to get this place dried in. More than likely now what we're going to have to do is install the 1 tall window we have and the small window that goes on the end, and then reorder another window. And I'm going to have to get on somebody's ass, figure out who made the mistake, and get somebody to express us another window in order to be able to get this thing dried in. Otherwise, in the meantime, what we'll either have to do is buy a window that's white and put it in that's the right size and then swap it out when we get the right window, or somebody else will pay for that, probably our supplier or the manufacturer. Somebody is going to pay for us to have a white window in its place for now, or we will then otherwise have to just cover it up with OSB and insulate it and only have 1 window on this side of the house for now and figure out how we can finish the outside siding. So, man, this is the kind of stuff that happens. And, you know, we're under the gun. Everybody's been telling us, oh, you guys are cutting it close. You're cutting it close. Everything was going to be fine. Windows were going to go in tomorrow. We find out that we have the wrong size windows. Well, my friends, it's the next morning. And as things like this go, giving yourself a little bit of time to think about things and to do a little bit of research usually gives you clarity. And as it turns out, I believe that I gave the wrong measurements for the window framing. So it wasn't the windows themselves that were ordered wrong. The order was correct. What's wrong is that we framed out 3 windows, and the rough openings are what we did wrong. I believe that under our covered porch, we were supposed to have the 61-inch tall windows, 2 of those, which would make sense because the 72-inch tall window, we always thought looked kind of weird because when you're standing inside the addition and you're looking out those windows, about 1/3 of the height of the window on top, you're basically just looking out at the underside of the covered porch. And the other side, even though it looked right or looked nice as a smaller window, I think we originally planned on putting the 72-inch window on the end facing out front to the road, and then the 61s were supposed to go on the covered porch. So we have 2 solutions. A, we order another window, and because it's our fault, it's going to be another $1,000 and another 8 weeks for that 1 window. That doesn't seem too exciting because also on top of that, it's going to start snowing. And as soon as it starts snowing, we're going to prefer and we're going to want to have the windows and everything done and the place dried in. So what we're doing now is we're going to reframe the 2 covered porch windows. That's an easy fix. And then we're going to put in our door. And then the tough one, the one on the end, which under, see that window, above that window is a lot of structural stuff holding up the beam, the main beam of the ceiling. So that's going to take a little bit of work, but we can do it. And we're going to do that on Monday. So that's what's going on.
Because I got some short pieces. We're going to put short pieces right here. Yep. All right. Across the top. Now we're going to put like a piece. Yep. 10 3/4 right here. And there. Slide one up. Bang, bang, bang. Nail it in. You do the same thing across the top. All right. We can do that with a 2x4. Yeah. So you cut you another when we get the wet. Cut the piece of this OSB. Yeah. And stick it on there and we can nail it to that. All right. And then you'll have to tape. You'll have to tape it.
Well, all right, friends, we got about as much done on those windows today as we possibly could. Tomorrow morning, we're getting up and we're heading down to Albuquerque to meet up with Heather's aunt and uncle, some of her aunt's friends, and Heather's sister, Lori. And we're going to spend the weekend down there attending the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta, which is the largest balloon launch in the world. So we're driving down tomorrow. We'll stay overnight down there, and we're getting up around 4 o'clock the next morning, which is how early you have to get up there to have the official launch first day. The fiesta goes on for about a week. We'll be there for about 2 days, and we're going to enjoy that. So I'll share some of that footage with you here. All right, my friends, I hope you enjoyed that little expose of our time down at the Albuquerque Fiesta. Now we're back at the cabin. We have a lot to do this week. We're putting our last window in probably tomorrow morning. We're going to be starting on the stone work today, putting the diamond lath up, which is what we'll be using to adhere the stone to the wall. And then we'll be going down to the valley and getting some rough sawn pine for the front side here of the cabin where the door and the two windows are. That is pretty much what we'll be working on most of this week. And once we have that done, we'll have the entire exterior completed other than the decking underneath the covered porch and also the soffits. We're going to hold off on getting the soffits done. We have too many other things we need to get done, and that's not really all that important. So hopefully next week we'll have somebody coming in to do the spray foam on the interior, and then we'll be able to start working on the inside. So this week it's all about getting the vertical rough sawn pine on one side and the stone on the other side, and then we'll have the exterior all done. All right, so here we are at the front of the cabin. As you can see, there's a wood piece covering the window opening. We did have to reframe that rough opening. The window was the wrong size, or excuse me, the rough opening was the wrong size. We bought diamond lath now. That's this stuff down here on the ground. We're going to cover the exterior here with diamond lath. That's what we're going to attach the stone to. And then one of the cool things we're going to do is we got some really long rough sawn beams. We're going to put one from about a foot to the left of the window here, touching the bottom of the window over to about here. We're going to put another one up here, maybe about 3 inches sticking out on either side of the window. And then we're going to put batten down the sides. And that will frame out the window with wood, and then we'll butt the stone up to that. And the reason I decided to do that was, number one, we need to get going on this stone, and this window's not in yet. And I can't put the stone all the way up to the window edge without the window being in. The other thing is, if for some reason we ever need to take that window out, all we have to do is remove the top beam, the bottom beam, and the batten, and we can unscrew the window and take it out and not have to worry about taking stone off the wall. So that's kind of what we're working on today. And then over here, as I mentioned, we've got a little bit of work left to do here, and then we're going to put the rough sawn pine up here. We have to stain that. We still need to go buy it. We had some, but it got moldy, and so we decided not to use it because it changes the stain color. So we'll be getting this all covered up this week as well. And then we have our lights that are going to go on either side here, and then we'll worry about this decking later on. So these diamond lath sheets are about 2.5 feet wide by 8 feet tall. Our wall here is 11 feet tall by 16. So we got about 12 of these. We're going to have to cut a few of them to work up at the top here, but there should be enough. And plus we also need to wrap, as you can see here, the siding ends. And the reason I ended the siding here is because we have cornerstone pieces that are going to wrap around here, and then we'll just put some mortar in here to fill in. We did get a colored mortar. It's a nice tan color, right?
Buff.
Oh, it's called buff. Yeah, we had to look up what buff even meant.
Other than
muscle
buff.
Heather's muscles.
Yeah.
All right, so what we've done here is we've put an angle iron, 2-inch angle iron, and mounted that to the bottom of the wood, a vertical plate with 2x12, and we'll be able to rest our cultured stone on here. So the next step will be up here. We're going to put the beam across, as I mentioned a bit ago, then we'll put the diamond lath on, and we'll have that diamond lath come down and probably just to this edge right here. And then once that's all done, we'll go ahead and start putting our stone on.
This is the perfect thing. A stud trying to find a stud. I love it. Is it working, honey?
It's working great.
Or should I say my stud trying to find a stud?
All right, so we're getting ready to put this beam up. I'm telling you a little bit about that just a second ago. And here's what we're going to use. We've decided to use these Simpson 5.5-inch screws. They're pretty cool. They're flathead, pretty long. And then you put these nuts on the end, and it's kind of a nut washer, if you will. It's very decorative. And what's really nice, so these require a star screw bit, and fortunately, they include one. So we're going to go ahead and install these. We're going to do 5 of them into the studs, and that will become, I guess, the bottom of our windowsill, but it's going to go all the way across, and then we're going to put stone all the way around it. Well, good morning, my friends. Winter is right around the corner. I went down to Albuquerque, as I mentioned the other day, and I got myself this really nice zip-up hoodie. It's lined with fur, so it's nice and warm. It's probably 30, 34 degrees out right now, I'm guessing. But what's interesting is that we've got so much to do on the inside of the cabin, and a lot of our neighbors are saying, listen, you need to move to the inside and start getting things done. And we were going to have a spray foam guy come out, as I've mentioned in the past, to do insulation. But he's now kind of given us the runaround, says he might not be able to come out for 2 to 3 weeks, and he can't even commit to that. So now we're considering doing just a Batten insulation interior. If we decide to do that, we should be able to get that done in about a day. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up the exterior for sure this week, and then we're going to move to the interior. One of the first things we need to do, and we're still missing one part, unfortunately, is get our pellet stove installed. So as soon as we get that thing installed, which will be probably early next week, and that's right around my birthday. My birthday's next week. We'll be able to have that place heated inside and start working on the inside walls and floor and ceiling and all of that once the batten's in. So we feel like it's necessary to wrap up the exterior of the cabin this week while the weather's still nice, and we think we can get it done in a week, and then we'll move to the inside. We're getting this, aren't we?
We're getting there. Looks like we're building a chicken coop, but hey, you never know. That could be next.
Chicken poop.
Almost time to get some stone going.
Almost.
Good. Just in time for the sun to be closer and warmer.
Yep. All right, so we're wrapping up with the diamond lath. Heather's putting the last piece up. She's snipping it here. And what you'll notice over here is we wrap this around the corner by about 3 inches. And the reason is because we have corners for our cultured stone. Here's a corner right here. They're going to go on just like so.
2 bags depending on what kind of color we want.
Okay.
So we want half of this?
Yeah, half of that.
For sure.
How much is that? Is that 3/4 then? Yeah, we want it more tan.
pumpkin.
All right.
Great work, dear.
So we shaved that off. Some of these, there's going to be stuff inside here that, like, I should probably clean that up a little bit. But because when I push this in, there's mud here on this side and mud back here, it will leave about, I would say about 3/4 of an inch between the end of this stone and the beginning of the rough sawn siding. And then we'll grout that, and I'll probably cover that with a sheet of batting at the end just to finish it off. So this is kind of how we're going to be doing this entire process. Now, most of this stuff, we'll just be able to stick them up there. However, there are a couple pieces where maybe there's a piece that juts out, and we're going to have to cut, and there'll be a little cutting to do. But this is pretty much the nature of what we're going to be doing.
So is that going to be our first guy that goes in?
This will be our first one that goes in on this bottom corner over here.
Yeah, the bottom and the back. Perfect.
Bottom and the back. What you do, in here, you take a little bit of this, you go, there's, see that? Take a little bit more.
What's the thickness we're thinking? 3/4 of an inch or what?
Of this stuff?
Yeah, for the first.
It's mostly an eyeball thing. But the way I'm putting it on here, you can see, you want it to, you want there to be an opening here. So when you press this in, it suctions in. So now we're gonna come over here.
All right.
This is definitely too dark. Boom. There you go. There's our first piece in.
All right. Looks beautiful.
And the way we did this, we have the diamond lath. It adheres into the diamond lath and creates sort of a suction behind it and locks in. And then the next piece we'll put up will be about 3/4 of an inch away from this one. And as you can see back here, we've got a little gap. And we want that gap there. That's probably a little bit bigger gap than we need. So I'll probably adjust on the next one. But we'll fill that with grout at the end, or mortar, excuse me. And then we're going to do an over-grout. So you can see that this one's pretty brown. We probably added too much color mix on that. We'll do a lot less next time, but it's okay for this because this is on the back. When we do the infill, and we're going to do an over-grout, so it's just going to be scraped over the front. So we want it to be a color that's fairly consistent with this, so maybe a much lighter tan. So we'll make that adjustment later. All right, so we're getting our first corners going here. we're making a ton of progress. We should probably have this done, I would say, by the end of the day tomorrow. We've been getting our neighbors stopping by saying, hey, you know, you shouldn't be working on this. You should be working on more important projects, things inside the cabin and whatnot to get it livable, because the forecast says 15 degrees for a low on Sunday. And our neighbors, of course, are awesome people, and all they're caring about is making sure that we have a place to live where it's warm. And our pellet stove's not completely hooked up yet. Our water system's not running yet. So there's a number of things that we have to get done. However, Heather and I started this project. We decided we needed to finish this project, because if we don't finish the project and we have this stuff just sticking up on here and we don't have the mortar in between, we're doing that over-grout, as I've mentioned before. If we don't have that done, then there's a good possibility that in the wintertime some of those could start falling off, and we don't want that. And so we decided that we're just going to get it done, crank it out, and then on Saturday we're going to go down and get some rough sawn pine, and we're going to stain that on Saturday afternoon. On Sunday we're going to hang all the rough sawn pine on the front of the cabin, and the exterior will be done. Sickatash.
And the battery is dead again.
It's like a never-ending battle with these two batteries trying to keep them charged. We are on our last piece. Our last piece.
The last piece.
And we cannot get a battery to charge long enough to cut through this one piece. So, it used to be a fish.
Oh.
But now we're flipping it over. We got to cut this one off. And we got to cut this one out. Now, this one's probably deep enough where I could chisel. This one is not. And if I tried to chisel that, it'll probably break the whole thing. So I got to wait.
Patience is
Patience.
a virtue.
Yes. So, note to self, get another battery charger and 2 more batteries.
Yes, 3 batteries. 3.
3. All right, my friends. Boy, yesterday we worked our butts off. I think we worked 12 or 13 hours. I put the last stone at the very top of this wall around 7:30, 7:45 last night, just as it was getting dark. But we got it done, and there was a high wind all night last night. All the stones stayed up there. Everything's good so far. We got up really early this morning. We headed down to the valley. We got all of our rough sawn pine, and we're going to get that stained probably late this afternoon and put that up tomorrow on the side with the windows and the door. And but for the rest of the day today, while it's still sunny and warm, we're going to do all the mortar work between all the stone and get all that done. So by tomorrow afternoon, all this exterior will be done, as I said.
Yeah.
It's a bonding agent.
Bonding agent. Let me know if you want me to add more water.
I will. We'll probably want more water. Just look at this. So all right, so for those of you that haven't done this before, it's kind of like decorating a cake. So you get these little canvas deals. They've got a hole in the tip, just like making a cake. You open it up, it's kind of like a party hat. And you fill this with mortar, and then you roll the end up, and you just start squeezing in between the rock. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill it all the way past the rim or edge of the rock opening, because we're gonna do an over-grout. If we were gonna rake it back, which means you'd put the grout in, and then you'd probably use your finger or something like that to smooth it out, and then you'd wash off the rock. We're not doing that. We're gonna over-grout. Don't need too much at a time. So we got it full. Rotate this around. When you squeeze on this, see how it comes out? So we come over here. You can see these openings all the way around. We're gonna squeeze it in there. We're gonna make sure that it sticks. We're gonna push it all the way back in there. It's not an easy job, but it's not difficult either.
So what, you just work small sections at a time? What's workable for you?
Yeah, and build up. Sometimes you have to start at the bottom of a hole. If you have a rock in here, you pop the rock out. We want to build it up as much because we're doing over-grout. So there's a couple things about this style that I really like. First of all, you don't have to be perfect. You put the stuff in.
But he is perfect.
You put the stuff in, you let it set up just for a little bit, and you take one of these plastic, I don't know what are these, trowels? Plastic scrapers, and you start scraping it. And the idea with over-grout is not to clean it off the stone, because you want to make it look like an old wall. And that's one of the beauties of this. You don't have to rake it back. You don't have to wash the stone off. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, the more rough that it looks, the more authentic it looks. So anybody can do this. You just got to mix the right amount, put it in the right tool, squeeze it in, and scrape it over. And then you're done. And it'll be rough. It'll be quite rough, actually. And in some places, you'll only see a little bit of the stone, but that's okay. It'll look more like, you know, French countryside wall or an old Italian villa wall or something like that. And that's the look we're going for, because we want this to look like it's really old.
Perfectly imperfect.
Perfectly imperfect. That's the theme of this entire cabin, is perfectly imperfect. The other nice thing I like about this stuff is that because it's so rough, if there's spots later on that you missed, or that there's some cracks showing above or below the stone, you just go back over it, spray a little bit more on there, and then scrape it over again. And it's perfectly fine to do that. Make your perfect little trees. Sometimes I feel like Bob Ross doing this stuff, talking on the camera. You notice in some of these areas, some of these stones tend to be pretty heavy. So we actually put some supports in there with screws. And in other places we put these rocks in. You just pull these out now. They were just designed to help support it. But there'll be screws in here. You can put the screws in. You make them deep enough, it doesn't really matter, because you're just going to cover over them with the over-grout anyway. Good morning, my friends. Wow, what a gorgeous, gorgeous morning. Blue skies. It's October 11th. My birthday's tomorrow. Don't really plan on celebrating it any other way than we're doing right now, and that is to work on my dream cabin and to share that experience with the woman I love. Let me tell you, I was laying in bed this morning thinking about the purpose of life. And I've written about some of this in my book, which is called Rediscovering Your Divine Music, which is about how to harmonize with what I call the divine music of nature, the 432 hertz frequency. Anyhow, so my conclusion is very, very simple. The purpose of life is to spread and experience love. So sharing love, experiencing love, spreading love. That is the sole purpose of life. And in my opinion, according to how I wrote it in my book, it's the architecture of our reality. The other purpose of life is to create, to be creators, to be conscious creators, like our Creator. And that's what I'm doing here. My entire life right now revolves around those two things. Creating my dream, building my dream, and doing so with someone that I truly love, in nature that I truly love, and being happy. I mean, one of the things I didn't share so far in this video is that we've decided on a name for our cabin. We've decided, now for the last 44 years, the previous owners had called this cabin the Lonesome Dove. And that's primarily because about a mile from here, the TV series Lonesome Dove was filmed. And the original Lonesome Dove cabin is just down the hill. And that's really cool. But our cabin is far from lonesome. And Heather and I just decided we needed to come up with a new name for the cabin. And so for a number of reasons, we decided to name the cabin Songbird. And our entire property here is called Mantle Rock. And the reason it's called Mantle Rock is because many years ago, I went through what I call a spiritual awakening. And as a result of that, I did a project with some other people, and it was called Token Rock. And the whole premise of Token Rock was that I had this experience where you find a rock on the ground that during some very special experience, and it's a memento. And I created a website around Token Rock, and then I had a social network called True Journal that had to do with journaling about experiences of your life and associating them with Token Rocks, and it was just this really incredible project. And it got recognized by the Webby Awards, and it was really incredible. 10,000 visitors a day to the website. Anyhow, so since that time, I've gone through a lot of transition in my life. I wrote that book, and a lot of things happened in my life that caused me to gain a lot of wisdom and, I guess, in my opinion, intelligence about life. So now, the next phase of my sort of spiritual evolution is Mantle Rock. And I'll get into that more in the future, but we decided to name the cabin Songbird Cabin at Mantle Rock. And there's three reasons for that. First of all, I'm a strong advocate for harmonizing and finding balance with the 432 hertz frequency of nature surrounding us, divine music. And then secondly, because my partner Heather is a fantastic musician and singer, and oftentimes when I'm sitting in the RV editing these videos after long weeks of hard work here, she'll go into the cabin and she will start to express herself with her art. My art is creating these videos, her art is creating music, and she's a beautiful musician, and I can hear her playing oftentimes from the RV, and she's in the cabin playing her music, and often into the evening, and I look out the window and I can see the lights on in the cabin, and she's singing, and so she's kind of my songbird. And then thirdly, we have a lot of birds on this property, and they always just seem so happy. And so we call them happy birds. So the name of our new cabin here is going to be called Songbird. And I created a logo for it, and we'll get into that a lot more in the future. But anyway, so the meaning of life: to experience, spread, share love. And secondly, to create, be conscious creators and spend your time creating. And so my birthday's tomorrow, October 12th, and I'll be 52 years old. And Heather asked me and my mom asked me what I'm doing for my birthday and what I want to do for my birthday. And frankly, I don't want to do anything else than what I'm doing right now. I'm living my dream, I'm creating my dream, and I'm spreading and sharing and experiencing love. And I'm spending my time inspiring others and just by leading by example to live my dream. And so I'm hoping that as a birthday present to myself, you're watching this and it's inspiring you to get out there and pursue your dreams.
Do you want a mud wrestle? We got a little pit right here. I'm betting I would win.
I'd probably let you.
Good work, honey.
Well, it's around 7 o'clock at night, and Heather's just about finished up putting the mortar between the rock, and then I'm going to scrape the last bit of it, and then I basically just almost got finished with the boards on the siding, not the batten. But the cool thing is that this is underneath the porch, and because it's underneath the porch, I can work on it pretty much any day of the week, even if it's raining out. So we got most of this done. I've got maybe, let's see, 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 more boards to put up, and then the batten. So then what we decided to do, I don't know if you probably can't even see it, but we decided to put a beam underneath these 2 windows like we did on the end. And then we're going to continue to stone from the front side there all the way around the bottom below that beam under the window. So that will continue around the base, and then we'll have the board and batten up here, and then we'll have a deck that butts up to that stone. So it's Monday night, October 11th. Tomorrow's my birthday, and I have to be honest with you, Heather asked me what I wanted to do for my birthday, and I'm doing it. This is pretty much exactly what I want to be doing. I want to be spending my time with Heather, working on this cabin, my dream cabin, and getting it done so that we can have a really wonderful, warm, cozy, authentic Christmas here. And that's going to happen. It's going to happen. By the end of this month, we should have everything inside this cabin done, and we will be able to basically relax and hibernate for the entire month of December, which is what I intend to do. I intend to relax. She's got a shop light up there. She's putting the rest of the mortar in between the rocks, and then we're going to spread it around, and then we will be done. That is a very exciting thing. I will come out here tomorrow morning if it's not raining or snowing and take a look at it and see how well we did, and if there's anything that needs to be patched up, we will do that then. I don't know. I think Heather's probably been done for a couple hours now, but and I'm kind of a slave driver, and she'll attest to that. But being out here at 7 o'clock at night in the dark to get this stuff done, and me personally being happy to do it and excited about getting it done, you know, that's a testament to working on something that you're truly passionate about. All right, well, I'm going to finish up there when she's done, and then we'll talk to you tomorrow.
That helps.
Oh,
Baby,
okay.
We got heat.
We got heat.
Okay.
We don't
What a
have water.
birthday present, huh?
We don't have water, but we got heat.
Now,
I
right
didn't have
here,
water again this morning.
if you
Okay.
press, well, here's the information.
Again?
You're the expert on this, aren't you?
I thought about that.
That's crazy little hopper in there.
Be on the back. It may have a little smoke coming out of it, but
First time.
All right.
Everybody's did first time. We got to see them, you know.
Fill it up.
What is that?
Says not for human consumption. Don't eat the rabbit pellet.
Damn!
Will it get bigger?
Yes.
12. Billy was.
It'll keep getting bigger. See here?
Let's see. They're
On that 5 indicator, that's going
Yeah.
to be your
apart.
heat and your
4 months older than Billy.
blower when it comes on. The higher the number, the hotter it gets, and the more
There's a
flame.
picture of
Got
When
it.
it starts getting mid,
When he first met
they'll start
him,
going down.
he thought-
Well, my friends, it's my birthday and it's sunny and it's snowing. We were out really late last night, as I mentioned. We got this stonework done this morning. A bunch of my neighbors came over and helped us get this pellet stove working. Now it's heating up in there. It's about 68 degrees, almost 70 degrees in there, and it's warming up very nicely. So as soon as I'm done with this siding, well, some of this siding anyway, I'll be able to go inside and start doing more work on the inside. We should be putting the insulation batting in later on this week. In the meantime, I wanted to show you just how well we did this stonework. I'm very proud of it. As I mentioned, it's an over-grout. We still have to do the finish work on the ceiling there, but the stone is done and it looks absolutely beautiful. And then you come around the side here, you can see my rough sawn lumber siding going in. I don't have the bats in yet, and as I mentioned, we're going to do stone across the bottom, but it is starting to look really nice. All right, now that I'm done drilling the air ventilation holes, we've been putting the batting in. This is R19 insulation. This is an 8-inch rafter, and the R19 is 6 inches, so that leaves about a 2-inch gap above there for some air ventilation. I put them up there. I cut them and put them up there. Heather's been stapling them in. And I've got an interesting thing I want to show you. So as you can see here, I didn't really have to do any measuring before I cut. And the reason that is because we sort of set up a template. One of Heather's aunts suggested that when we cut our batting, we make a mark on the floor. So we set the batting down against the wall and come out to the mark as to where we need to cut, and then take a 2x4 and lay it over the top. But what I've been doing is just taking one of these and making a light cut on the top paper, and then I've been using a garden shears as a gigantic scissors, which is incredibly useful. It just cuts right through. And I'm cutting all these around 5 feet long for one side of the roof line, stacking them up over here so that we only have one ladder right now. So when Heather's done with the ladder, I'll put all those up there, and then she can go up there and staple. So kind of an interesting way to do things, and it allows us to get things done a lot quicker. Ta-da. All right, my friends, I think I'll talk a little bit about this giveaway that I promised in my 100th episode, which was 3 weeks ago. This is episode 101. In my 100th episode, I talked about giving away a Team 4X founding membership. And I asked people in that episode to go on 4expedition.com and fill out the form to be entered into the drawing. And I had a lot of people submit entries, and I received so many wonderful, kind comments in those entries, and I'm so appreciative of your kindness and the fact that my channel has inspired you. And frankly, that is why I do this. I do this to inspire others and to spread kindness and an appreciation for the natural world and the simple life. Anyhow, I had a lot of entries, and it's been really wonderful. And I had to put those names together and come up with a list and then come up with a process for selection. And I was able to select a person, and I'm really proud to announce that Scott Bernadotte from La Crosse, Wisconsin is our new founding member. Scott, you are member number 52. We have 100 founding memberships that we will have, and above 100 we'll have other kinds of membership programs, but founding members will always be founding members, and they get to help in the guidance on how Team 4X evolves. And so anyhow, Scott, I'm really happy to have you aboard. Congratulations, and thank you to everyone else who submitted. Stay tuned, we'll have other giveaways going forward, and I promise some of those giveaways will be memberships. So anyhow, thank you again. Well, Heather and I have finished the board and batten on the front. Very exciting. Got one piece left way down there on the end, and I've got to do a custom cut on that around the logs. And now I'm putting the black tar paper on the bottom here, and then we'll put the diamond plating on the front here, diamond lath. And then when we have more time, we'll do stonework down there. But for now, we're just going to leave that black tar paper. But boy, did it sure come out nice. All right, so to continue on with the airflow situation, I've been putting these air vents in the soffits up here. Now we are going to close in the ceiling here of the soffits, and when I do that, I'll probably add a couple of these vents facing straight up or out here on the end, just to allow some continuous airflow. I'm putting a couple of these in. I put one on this end, one on that end, and then on the other side of the house, I'll put a couple over there. And as I mentioned to you, the way we did our foam insulation, we have about a 2-inch air gap above the insulation, and then we put the foam board on. That gives us about an R24 with the air vent, or the air flow above the rafters. And then I drilled about 2-inch holes all the way down the rafters, so we've got horizontal airflow, we've got airflow going up and down the rafters, and then I've got some of these air vents on the ends. All right, my friends, I think that's it for this episode of the Pursuit of Cabin Living series by 4Expedition. I really hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed creating it. If you haven't become a subscriber, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button. Of course, be sure to hit that notification bell to be notified when videos go live. And if you consider yourself to be an adventurer and you're looking for an adventurer community, consider joining Team 4X by going to 4expedition.com/join to learn more. Until the next time, take care.